Hi. Today, the most important article is related to the Mr. Narayanan's, which is about a recent attack on Indian Army by the NSCN, the Kaplang faction in this Manipur. So, what is this exactly about? So, the first thing is the article talks about the intelligence failure, which is totally ignored in this attack. Now, NSCN Kaplang faction, it has withdrew from the ceasefire agreement and it was already made inroads towards making a national liberation front for West Southeast Asia, so which is a combined faction for all the various factions of the terrorist elements in Manipur, and next is with regard to the Nagaland, etc. So, the intelligence failure is one thing which has been talked about. And after that, hot pursuit is followed, where Indian Army went into Myanmar and also attacked or conducted a special operation in the forests of the Myanmar. So, in this context, the post-Jingoism which has followed after the attack, or political capital building after the attack, that was highly criticized. Now, like these covert operations, we need to keep the things as secret as possible to conduct them in the future too. So the exposure this to the media has provided for a dent with our relationships in Myanmar. Already there are the news that Myanmar is not interested to cooperate with such operations in the future. So as again as the anti-insurgency operations, in the long term, these are going to threaten our interests. And another thing is, there is a kind of new masochism which is growing on with regard to the Indian Army. So with regard to anti-terrorism strategy of India, people are suggesting for preemptive strikes. Preemptive strikes means to protect our national and sovereign interests. We disregard the borders of the other country and we go into that particular other country and we conduct the attacks over there to prevent to prevent the terrorist attacks happening in our soil. So that is what is called as preemptive attacks. So the preemption is a policy of Israel and USA, and it is no way close to India's interests. And the next thing is, already Pakistan has the disproportionate policy, that is what is called as, under any provocation, Pakistan says that it can take up the maximum possible retaliation. This is described as disproportionate response. Next is, there is also, if we observe, for the India's cold start strategy, Pakistan already is trying to prepare with its engagement of the tactical weapons across the border. So if you observe all these things, so India's strategic restraint appears to be a well thought out strategy. So it is very much in the interest of India now, in the nationalistic fervor or to gain political mileage, if the government tries to show this particular tone, changed tone, it may in a long term damage the interests of India within the region. Then what is meant by this cold start strategy is, so the ready, quick attack teams will be prepared, battle groups will be prepared in cooperation between Navy, Air Force and Army. So it means immediately once a go order is been given by politicians or political executive, immediately military will launch an attack. It will be so quick and fast that before the retaliation is planned, there will be significant gains will be made by the Indian Army. That is what is called cold start strategy. So it is in response to the movement of the forces, delayed movement of the forces after the parliamentary attack, the cold start strategy has come into news again. So it means that is to what extent it is real, no one knows, but it's a secret document. So for this hypothetical strategy itself, Pakistan wanted to use its nuclear weapons against India. Next is the problem of Hong Kong. Now, Hong Kong was initially under the Great Britain's rule, then it was transferred to China. When it was transferred to China, it was guided by something called as Hong Kong Basic Law. Hong Kong Basic Law. Under this Hong Kong Basic Law, the chief executive of the Hong Kong, he will be elected by the people only after 2017. But however, the committee will nominate the members who are competing in this election. So till then, there is, as of now, if you see, the chief executive is elected by a 1,200 member elite body. So the chief executive is elected by the elites of the Hong Kong. So before that, during UK's reign, the London used to appoint the governor for the administration of the Hong Kong. So now what the China is proposing is, it is ready to introduce democracy and adult suffrage in Hong Kong. But the people who are contesting the elections will be nominated by China. Now, in Hong Kong, the people, what they request is, or they demand is this. So the protesters, they demand for a full democracy in Hong Kong. It means anyone shall be able to contest for this position of chief executive. So now here major question is, to what extent China is ready to lose its control over the Hong Kong? So China growing as a superpower in this region, to what extent Hong Kong and China's interest can be accommodated with each other? As of now, the China policy is one country, two systems with regard to Hong Kong is concerned. So the balance is between protecting the democratic aspirations of the people of Hong Kong and at the same time maintaining the supremacy or control of the Beijing. So how this balance is to be maintained is a major question. And then the neutrinos. So recently an article was made by the former president Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam in support of an observatory, Indian Neutrino Observatory. So this article criticizes that, and what it says is, so generally the spin-offs, it means that the civilian benefits from this research, they are exaggerated. And the second thing, it is the investment in technology or investment in this fundamental research will provide for us growth. But what the article says is there is no such an established relationship. And it says that the technology creates economic opportunities at many other places too. It means that most of the technology which has created opportunities in Southeast Asia, it actually came from the West, especially from the United States of America. So, whatever the money which we are spending on this fundamental research, it is actually at the cost of the basic research that is allowed in the universities. The funds meant for this basic research are diverted towards this neutrinos research. So it is going to create a vacuum or a scientific temper across the youth who are studying in the universities. But I see a lopsided argument. So the impact of the technology may not be visible. For example, internet, the technology, the impact is not visible, but we can see how much of the externality it is able to create. Similarly, India's space story. So you cannot just see the performance of the anthrics, but what are the indirect benefits which we are getting because of the space communication. So definitely investment in science and technology in the long run, it will create the productivity in the terms of the growth of the economy. So if you take IITs, yes, so they have become the engines or temples of technology or engines of growth. So they have laid the foundation for the scientific temper in the country. So but on the other hand, we are not supposed to regulate or we are not supposed to control the higher education in the country and also the basic education. The basic education provides for the necessary resources to the higher education. So a quality-based primary education will improve the higher education, will provide for the qualitative resources towards the researcher. So there has to be an equal emphasis on everything. Next, after this, IIMs. So recently the bill introduced, the bill which has been asked for the comments of the people. What it says is, there will be institutions of national importance will be created. Now according to this bill, the diploma which is given by IIMs will be converted into degree so that it will provide for the opportunities for research and to gain the PhDs from various reputed institutions. That addresses the shortage of the faculty. The second thing is, the autonomy of the IIMs is under question. because any academic appointments, determination of the fees in IIMs, that has to be in consultation with the government. So the undermining of the autonomy is under question over here. The next is the NDA government's appointment of the people to various academic institutions is coming under fire now. If you see with regard to Indian Council of Historical Research, Y. Sudarshana Rao, his appointment and his attitude has become into question. And next is so the censor board. So the appointment to the CBFC, that is Mr. Nihlani, and his attitude is coming under fire. Similarly, in the line now is Film and Television Institution of India, Mr. Gajendra Chauhan. So what it appeared is the government is trying to appoint the people who can take forward its ideology, and added to that, so the capacities of these people, are they proven or not, is under question. So in this case, the government has freedom to choose the people, but however institutions and their administration shall not be compromised for the various vested interests. So that's what is the conclusion. So these are the articles of today. Thank you very much.